My name is Lyall Sanders. I'm running to be mayor of Toronto. I'm number 83 on the ballot, so on Monday, if you're voting, you might consider, I'll get a chance to talk with you all later. So, if I was to become mayor, I think that the city should be run more like a business.
The 8:15 into the city.
Okay, here's the part where you all get to sing along with us. Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. I've been taking care of business. It's all mine. Taking care of business. Let's hear you out there. Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business every way. I've been taking care of business. It's all mine. Taking care of business and working overtime. Woo! Thank you very much. We are Guess Who with a question mark. You can find us at guesswho.band.
We'll take a short break. We'll come back in a few minutes, play another song.
We're all taking a break. We really appreciate the fact that you came out tonight, and for those of you who are watching on over YouTube, so cool. I'm so pleased that you're all out there. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit. So as mentioned, I'm running to be mayor of Toronto. I'm number 83 on the ballot. And I've had a number of people ask me, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, first of all, I'm a common guy. I don't have millions and millions of dollars. And so I'm just doing this on what I have and with some help from some friends. There's 6 main things that I would like to see happen and things that I would be putting my full effort into. Number 1, the city needs to become more fiscally responsible. And that doesn't mean cutting out programs, because this is what happens so often. They go, oh, the budget's going to be short, so let's cut out some programs. That's not the way to be. That's not the way to do things. What we need to do, number 1, is be more careful with how the money is spent. And too much of the money gets spent in ways that if you knew what was happening, you would not be happy. So money goes to things get overruns, all these different things that happen that really don't give good value to the city. So that's number 1. Number 2, affordable housing. And there's a lot of ways to deal with that. There are a lot of units around Toronto that are just sitting empty. And I know at one point I was campaigning with my friend Zia, helping him with his campaign. And at one area we went to, every 4th house, there was nobody in the house. It was empty. So I know that they're trying to address some of that with higher taxes if you're not living in the house, but something more needs to be done than just that. It's like, if you're not going to live in the house and you're not going to rent the house to somebody else, then you have a period of time to either make changes or you need to get rid of the house to somebody that actually wants to use it. Also, there are a lot of buildings around that could be repurposed. Places where there are small offices and things like that. The buildings are not being used. A lot of things happened during COVID. A lot of people just decided, hey, we're going to do business in a different way. There's a lot of buildings around. And something, my boss at a former place of work, I was doing computer tech work there, and he said to me, people never really feel completely comfortable until they own something. And that's what should be done. The city should be looking at these buildings, buying the buildings, setting them up to be used for people to buy, not just rent. Because what's happening is the long-term thing is the city's renting. And, it's difficult to have pride, the same kind of pride in something that you just, you're there and you're spending your money every month and it's never going to be yours. So it's important that a lot of these places be turned into housing that can be rented to buy. The person can feel that they can have some pride in ownership and they can feel that they have some security. The next thing is safe schools. We have been on the bad end of school where a lot of things were going on. There was a problem that happened at the school, and my stepson
was put into a very, very bad position a number of times. And what ended up happening was threats were tossed around and nothing was really done. And I think that the schools need to be made safer. And there's ways to do that. Administration has to have some very, very set rules on how to deal with bullying, how to deal with that type of thing. If there's a problem, we need to deal with that much, much better. The schools can be made safer, and we don't need to have security people. We don't need to turn the schools into prisons. We just need to make sure that the schools are safe, because everybody's working towards that. The next thing, TTC. So this will be my first time announcing this it's my first time announcing this to a full audience. A reporter talked with me last Sunday, and I told him, I think the TTC should be entirely covered by government. Entirely covered by government. And it would be better. I have 11 different reasons why it would be better. I'll share a couple of them with you. And I'm going to share from the other end of here, because I talked to some people who, they said, well, but wait a second, we drive cars. Why would we want to fund the TTC? Well, guess what? If people are driving their cars and they're now riding the TTC because they go, hey, wait a second, I don't pay for this. If you have to drive your car, there's less cars on the road. Bingo. Environmentally, it's better. The roads now don't get chewed up as much because not so much traffic on it. So less problem with potholes. One group that I thought would be very, very annoyed about this is the security people on the TTC. And I've spoken with a number of them, because a lot of what they're doing is checking people for fares and things like that. Guess what? Wouldn't it be so nice if they didn't have to check people for fares and they could focus on when there's issues going on? This TTC now is suddenly a lot safer. We don't need walls up, between the people and the subway cars. What we need to do is have somebody that's mindful of what's going on. And they could do that. They would no longer have to be focused on the small tasks, and they could be focused on the big tasks. The other things too, and I've talked with drivers about this, wouldn't it be safer for the driver if, number one, they don't have to argue with anybody about paying the fare? The people just get on. See, then they can focus on driving. No stress, no pressure from people getting on. We'd save a lot of money, and some people are going to be really upset about this. We'd save a lot of money because wouldn't be using the Presto system anymore, because nobody has to keep track of the amount of money anymore. Okay. The other thing too, the bus service would be faster, because when people get on, they're tapping. Half the time the tap doesn't work. One morning I was on 5 buses, and 4 of them the Presto didn't work. And so you're standing there tapping. It's slowing everything down. Everything would move more efficiently. Anyway, that's my thoughts about that. That's about half of the reasons why it is I think it would be better if the TTC was covered by government. And it's possible to do. So much money from Toronto goes outside of Toronto to pay for other things in Ontario and federally as well. And during the day, from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. till maybe 6, Toronto is not just Torontonians. Toronto is people from Oshawa, people from Peterborough, people from Barrie, people from Orangeville, people from Hamilton. So why shouldn't some of that money be coming back in? And I don't mean taking money from their taxes. I mean the money that we're paying for our taxes going out of the city and never ever coming back. One of the other things is taxes, and let's say there are some groups that think that we should be raising taxes. We don't need to raise taxes. All we need to do is have a better relationship between the city and the provincial government. This money that has been flowing out and never coming back, that's what we need. We need the money to be coming back into the city. And finally, inclusivity. The city is, one of the things I love about Toronto is it's so diverse. There's so many people from so many different backgrounds. You can be in Toronto and be anywhere in the world, pretty much. You just, depending, you go here, 20 minutes this direction, you're somewhere else. It's the most wonderful thing about the city. I think that the city needs to be inclusive, absolutely inclusive for everybody. And we need to work towards that. Anyway, so my name's Lyall Sanders. I'm candidate number 83 on the ballot. I hope that on Monday you'll consider voting for me. You can go and check my website, Sanders for Mayor, so it's SandersFormayor.ca. and you can take a look and see further information on my platform. Information is there if you want to send me an email, Lyall, Lyall, at sandersformayor.ca, and I'll be glad to respond to you. I'm always pleased. Oh, one more thing. I ride the TTC. And if I was mayor, I'd be going into downtown on the TTC because I think you need to lead by example. There's a big sign at City Hall that says, ride the TTC. How many people who are councillors and the mayor, are they riding in on a TTC? Well, you know what? We don't need to be spending money on personal drivers and things like that. I think it'd be important that lead by example. Somebody said to me, so I used to live in, thank you, I used to live in Orangeville, and the mayor had a store on the main street. So if you had something you need to talk to him about, you could go into the store and talk to him, okay? I think it'd be nice if people could feel like that they would at least have some opportunity that they could talk to the mayor at some point or another, you know, possibly end up on the TTC with them. Somebody said to me, well, wait a second, Orangeville is like this little town. So that's not the same thing as Toronto. At one point, back a few years ago, the Prime Minister of the UK was taking public transit to go into work. I'll tell you something, if the Prime Minister of the UK can take the public transit, I don't see why I couldn't do that as well. Anyway, so as I say, I'd be glad to hear from you. If you want to send an email, Lyall, Lyall, at sandersformayor.ca. I'll do my best to respond to everybody. And I'm not a politician. I've spent my entire life doing things to help people, whether it be entertaining or I'm a teacher. I understand what it's like to be caring for people, to be caring for students. Some of my students are 4, 5, 6 years old over in China, and I've got students who are in their 50s and 60s in South Asia, helping them learn English. And I think that we need to look after each other. I think that that's a big thing. So anyway, thank you so much. Live music will return very shortly. And then we'll have an open jam. One more thing. I want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much for us having the opportunity to play here this evening. And we appreciate the fact that have all you coming out to listen and to show your appreciation. So we're very happy. Let's give our hosts here at the studio. How about all our hosts at the studio? A nice big round of applause. Are you? Yes, I am. I said, oh, cool. So we took pictures together. So you're going to post